stars and luxury, the high life, much history, high fashion and mystery. This is where you wanna be. Come live like this, with girls in bliss. Come live like this, with girls in bliss.
Just like this, with Girls in Bliss. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Girls in Bliss with me, Manasi Scott, and
Danika Sahani.
the amazing Deepika Gihani. We're literally talking all things luxury today. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
So I have a lot of stories that I have to share with Deepika, but I know you started off before you brought in luxury retail into India in a big way. I remember I used to buy dresses from you, and you were a fashion designer. Tell us about that.
That's totally true. So I think I was a fashion designer for almost 15 years. I started very young, and I had my own fashion label. I was retailing at almost every store like Ensemble and Folio and Ogan and everything that you see around. I had my own store at Kemp's Corner and one in Delhi. With my own label. So it was, I used to do a lot of fusion wear, I used to do a lot of Indian, saris, everything. I had a great clientele. I think most people, when I introduce myself today, the first thing they say, but didn't you do clothes? Where are those clothes? Where can we buy them? And a lot of people I meet, even today, they come back and like, oh, I've saved some clothes of yours, and I still have it. And I'm like, listen, I'm happy to buy them back. And,
No, that's not happening. I have one of your sarees. Trust me,
yeah,
I'm not getting it.
so that has been a large part. I would say half of my journey in my career was my fashion design, where I had my own label. Till I moved into this world of luxury.
World of luxury. I still have my very first Roberto Cavalli jeans. I still fit into them thanks to her. Jackets, I remember Cavalli, I remember Jimmy Choo, I remember Bottega. You introduced me to that. So how did that shift happen from?
So, well, don't say I remember. It's still very much there for you. And it's still available for you to shop more. That was, I don't know, should I just say it was God sent? And, I'm really grateful for Sanjay Kapoor of Genesis Luxury for that. So it was, he was a friend, introduced by a friend, and the idea was I was helping him, connect with the Indian labels and brands and making him understand how the other, he owned this brand Satyapal, right, which everyone's very familiar with. So I was helping him connect with brands because he wanted to acquire many more Indian labels. Exactly what you see happening today. 15 years now this is what is happening. So this is what he was looking to do 15 years ago. Okay. And in that entire journey of, introducing him to other people and telling him which labels are selling, which are the designers, he partnered with me for my own label. Okay. He said, okay, let's take you on board first. And so I was part of the company. And while I was part of the company in this whole quest of him trying to find the Indian labels, he came upon one company which owned some one or two international labels like Eigner from Germany. It was a handbag brand. It had Paul Smith, and he kind of, bought that company. So when he bought that company, it was just, he didn't know what was happening next. But and the next thing he knew, they were talking to Just Cavalli to sign a contract for India. It was very, very early stage. India had no luxury brands or international brands. And so while that was happening, and there was a small team, and then he just offered me, hey, they're going to Milan. Would you go with this team? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go for a holiday. Why not? Saying we'll just go with this team and, just figure out what really this business is about and, what's going on. So that was my first steps into walking into the Just Cavalli office. I would say very oddly dressed for a winter day in Milan. That was like my first trip. And I think it all began there. And the next thing, was that, hey, just stay back because we're taking on Bottega. So you need to go to that office. And don't come back this trip and just, hang on because we're taking on Jimmy Choo. And the brands just kept coming.
So this company started expanding the other brands' entry into India.
Exactly. So this company then started, so he started reaching out to other brands while he was in Italy with his connections. So Canali was one of the very important brands that, he brought in very early. So then there was Canali, there was Burberry, there was Paul Smith, then
And there was Jimmy Choo,
there was
which
Jimmy
is how
Choo and
we
Bottega,
became
which we
friends
actually took over. You know, Jimmy Choo Bottega already existed in India, so it was Gucci, Jimmy Choo, and Bottega, which was with the Murjanis. So, in all fairness, they are the ones who had got these brands to India, but somehow they kind of failed, and we took over Bottega and Jimmy Choo. From them, and Gucci stayed operating directly on their own like they are till today.
So it couldn't have been easy for these brands to enter into India. So let us hear about the challenges that they faced and how you helped them out.
So it wasn't easy at all because firstly, India never had the infrastructure. So where is the experience? I mean, where is your Champs-Élysées and where is your Oxford Street and Bond Street and where is your Via Monte Napoleon? We don't have those streets because we don't have the climate or the climate and the conditions for it.
Sure.
So we don't have those streets
If I
firstly.
remember correctly, there was one gallery or something at Oberoi Hotel, right? When it
That's
all
right,
started.
which is there, yeah, which was at the Trident.
Trident.
Okay.
The coffee shop they converted into the gallery. That's where Jimmy Choo, Bottega, and Gucci was.
Correct.
So that gallery was, so 5-star was considered luxury,
Yes.
right? Like your 5-star
Yes.
space is the only luxury we had then.
Correct.
So today, even you go to many other restaurants which are on the streets, but those days you only went to a 5-star restaurant. So the same way, so there were stores at, so Burberry was there at the Taj, and then there was Jimmy Choo and Bottega, which was at the Trident
Yeah.
Galleria. And then DLF Emporio opened their mall in Delhi.
Correct.
So I think that was, what really got it started because that was the first luxury mall that opened in India.
Yeah.
And after DLF Emporio, the Palladium, the High Street Phoenix extended it to Palladium. So that was the other. So the minute there was infrastructure, you could reach out to more brands and offer the spaces and bring in more brands.
And it makes sense that we had metros to look at first as opposed to second tier, although that's a big market as well.
So for sure, I don't think we've still they've ventured into the second tier cities with standalone stores. Of course, there was Delhi first. I mean, Delhi is what everyone
Where the
says
money
is where the
is.
money is, and the
Bombay's where the
spending
class
power, and it's a lot more about showing off and being
Being
fully branded
seen.
head to toe
Correct.
and whatever.
Correct.
And then of course there was Bombay, which has that very cool sense of dressing, but they really don't need to be branded head to toe, but they enjoy their brands
Yes,
also.
yes.
And then there was Bangalore.
Okay.
So it was Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, and then the fourth city we did was Calcutta, and last was Chennai. So
Wow.
that's the kind of order it took. But there were many challenges.
I think one of the challenges that I remember, the staff at a store, that's also something that I think you have to get very involved in because luxury shopping also has a lot to do with how you're treated when you're doing. So that has to be a big one. How did you find the people? How did you train them? Like,
I think we trained the people. We didn't really find the people. You just had to train them from scratch. And, it's funny you're saying this because even currently I'm working on a training module for luxury. Because those days, I remember I used to walk into the stores and check their nail polish, their hair. Is your hair pinned? Was the nail polish? What were the gestures to use? What were the vocabulary to use? Product training, how to stand, how to speak, how to look into the eye, how to close a sale. What is the after service you do? After that, and we did have some trainers. Initially, we had trainers coming in from France. We had who
So
trained us.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then we had, some of the brands, some of the bigger brands like Burberry or Bottega, they regularly sent their trainers, maybe like every quarterly or, every 6 months, they sent a trainer to kind of, to improve their skills. And so based on what some of the brands were training, some of the stores, I picked those training modules and built it for the other brands and for the others. So, eventually we had to train like every person there, but the amount of checks we had to do on them over the years was like a lot over the first few years. And today, everywhere I go, whichever store, whether I'm walking to Hermes or whether I'm walking to any brand though, and they say, "Hi ma'am, do you remember me? I was with you at this store and you trained me." And I'm so always proud to meet them today and to see that they're so well turned out and so polished and literally giving you the same service you would get at any luxury international brand in any part of the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, look at the Geo Mall now,
I
the
was
plaza,
just- yeah.
the World Plaza. And what a
It's our
phenomenal,
Champs-Élysées.
you know, you just walk in there and you feel so proud, right?
Yeah.
That look at
Yeah.
the scale of things. In fact, we had a friend, Geeta, come in last month, and she was appalled. She says, I can't believe
This
this
is
is
Bombay.
Bombay. You know, and you feel proud, right? Because the scale at which we are
Yeah.
doing now, all the international brands are looking at India as the destination to be present.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're looking at India as such a big market. And I'm sure at the time when you started, India was just a speck on the map for
It
luxury,
was
right?
smaller than the spec.
Spec.
It was smaller. So we were part of the emerging markets.
Yeah.
So, you know, even the people or the division that used to deal with us at the international brand, it was you were part of emerging markets. And in that emerging markets, you were probably that one tiny little speck was not so important. And you just felt that, listen, you're opening a new store, you are a new market, and why are they giving you that much importance? And we always had our demands, especially me. I mean, I was known, I think the brands hated me for the
Difficult.
demands I kept throwing in.
You know, but that's what gets perfection in, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's how you were persistent. You knew what you wanted.
That's
You
like
had a
real
vision.
luxury.
You had a vision, right? You
Yeah, I
actually-
just felt like, you know, if it's our money and if we are investing so much money into this business, I mean, you should be also, you know, like adapting to what my consumer needs. My consumer is equally important. And how different can I make it, or how special can I make it for my consumer back home so they don't shop abroad? And these brands would never understand that, right?
Yeah.
So we did, to do that, I mean, I used to fight with them, so we did a lot of limited editions. We did limited editions at Bottega Veneta,
Tell me
at
about
This is
Canali, at
specifically for India.
for
Yeah.
India.
And I have
for
some of those
India.
limited editions.
This is
Like,
phenomenal.
I think my first Jimmy Choo was the sandals Rihanna wore on the red carpet to the Grammys. It was the first time I was introduced to the world of Jimmy Choo. And you know, the luxury today, I think, is now. Those days it used to be going and spending a lot of money and buying a bag.
Yeah.
Now it's also about how you present the luxury, how you look great in it. And now I think with your experience, I'm sure you're also picking up a lot of the newer designers, not the traditional, the bigger luxury brands. So tell us, who else have you discovered in the recent past?
So I think now what India is ready for is a lot of more affordable international brands and designers. So Reliance Brands is bringing in Sandro and Marge and everything, and I think that's going to do really well.
And I have a
that's
request, please bring in Hussein Shalia. Bring him into India.
Okay, you can just visualize it and send the message across, and somebody will hear you. So you know, the consumer was also ready for it.
Yes.
I think it's just that you had to give it on a platter and then they would take it, and it's also how you gave it. So if you gave them the same standards of luxury, and an Indian consumer is very used to being pampered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how our hospitality industry is here. I mean, we are one of the best when it comes to, you know, I mean, giving those kind of services.
Services.
So what we had to prove is that we can give you better services, we give you better after sale services, and we are offering you the same collection. So the limited editions did really well across all our brands. So I think I introduced it at every brand, at Jimmy Choo, at Giorgio Armani, at Canali. At Canali, we had a Canali Nawab, which is like the band gala and the waistcoat, you know,
Wow.
which was specially
Wow.
introduced because we knew the wedding market was so big in India.
Yeah.
And if the wedding market is going to be so huge and you just, you know, there's one occasion where they do need to wear Indian wear.
Yes.
Right? So that's when and Canali was very open to it. So I remember sitting with their design team, designing it, showing them the button, showing them the silhouette, showing them why. So we did this across brands. Another thing that I really push the brands to do is like Christmas is so big for them. Right? Christmas is their main season. Christmas windows are their main windows. Christmas drops are very important to them. But for me, it was Diwali.
Yes.
And it was just a month or two before Christmas.
Yeah.
So I had to keep explaining to them that when you want me to invest in Christmas, I want to invest in Diwali because that's
the
more
customer
important.
is going to
Yeah.
buy during
Yeah.
Diwali. They're not going to buy so much during
yeah.
Christmas. Yeah.
You know, it's all about gifting during Diwali.
Yes.
My windows need to be elaborate for Diwali. So with, you know, the first brand when we did the first Diwali window, and today you'll see, and today I'm sure you see it across every brand in India.
Correct.
And I can proudly say I pushed the brand to start this first. And today every brand is looking at Diwali. So what are we doing for Diwali this year? You know, so now it is on the focus that you have to do something special for Diwali. Look at Bulgari doing the Kara, doing the Mangal Sutra for India. So it's nice to see that from that time when I was struggling and fighting with them, that today that everyone is
Yeah.
literally happy to do things for India. So yeah, India is shining.
India
Amazing.
is shining.
Deepika, another thing that I'd say I'm guilty about is whenever I travel abroad, I'd end up picking up the luxury goods on my travels. And I'm sure that's a big challenge for a lot of brands. How did you overcome that?
So I won't deny that that was one of the main challenges. People were used to shopping abroad. It was very hard to make them believe that, listen, this was the real same product and the same brand. So that was also one challenge, where you had to say, no, you have the same collection, you have the same season, because they thought, oh, you're getting all seasons, oh, you're getting seconds goods, and that was not true. So it took us a lot to work with magazines and PR, to get that message going.
Oh, and let's say there's
Yeah.
Deepika Gihani making people like me shop. That's the only reason I started to shop luxury brands in the country. But
And then
yeah.
there was a price difference because, of course, there were import duties. So there was a difference that we were higher by 15 to 20%.
Okay.
Then depends, maybe UK or Italy or wherever. And because you were higher, people started thinking, oh, I get my VAT refund, oh, that's going to be cheaper and whatever. So there were all kinds of people, and then there were people like Manasi who wanted that season at that time when it is trending and it's in fashion, right? So not everyone travels 5 times a year.
Yes.
You'll have to wait for the season. You'll probably, be wearing something the next season, or you'll miss that piece. So I think there was a lot of gifting. Have you look at our country,
Yeah.
amount of gifting that happens, especially during festivals and during weddings and everything. So
yeah, like a
people-
bride will always want
exactly
a brand
yeah.
in her trousseau.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so I think our customer kind of grew, and if they realize they're getting a great service, they're getting the product when they want, slowly they kind of got used to buying here. And of course then customs also made it easier. The custom officers made it quite difficult for people to bring in goods, so a lot of people then moved here because it made it much easier to shop here. Initially I think we had our challenges, and even today there will be some people
Yes.
who will always have these calculations and do, but trust me, there are a large number of
Yes.
people who are still happy to shop
Yeah,
in
I'm
India.
And I'll
Over.
tell you why. The ultimate luxury, Jimmy Choo, boots that I'd bought. You were talking about service. I have to tell you this. She actually couriered my shoes to Paris for repair, and they came back, and I'm still wearing them at 20 years
Beautiful.
old. So that was that kind of
Yeah.
service, and that's only you. That's what you've
Yeah.
done for the luxury market in this country. and
I
that's so
think
cool.
we always put the customer first, and we made sure our service standards were so good that they wanted to be here and shop here, and we connected well with the consumer. We pampered them. Initially all the launches and the events we did were fun, because it was fun that time. I mean, today, okay, there may be too many, but then it was fun. It was all new to India then,
Yeah.
so it was exciting.
It's been so exciting, and I think this is where we are now. Chew her brains for our tips from Bliss.
Tips from Bliss.
So the serious stuff first. Of course, there are many more people entering the luxury market right now. As people,
Yeah.
it was a niche sort of a bracket when you were there, because you had to be as educated about luxury to be able to deal with all these brands. For the youngsters who want to get into this place and work, what would be your advice?
I think you need to just have an open mind. I don't think you need to, and I tell all these people who I advise on their career, I say be open. Don't just say, oh, because I've studied luxury brand management and, that's the only thing I need to be a brand manager. You got to start from the bottom. And that's where you will get all your experience. And just be open about it. Be open to the changes, accept things. And the more you will learn along the way. And that's how you will grow.
That's such a blissful tip. Unlearn to learn, be open. I tell that to all the new managers and assistants who come along. It's a very, very, very cool thing. Be open to change. Teach yourself over and over and over again. Learn every day.
And of course, the aspirational girl or guy looking to buy a luxury item. I'll tell you my experience. My first trip to Italy, I went to Capri, and that was where I picked up my first Gucci, the Boulder bag.
Oh, you also had that Jimmy Choo, the
Yeah.
snakeskin one and all. My God. Yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
also kind of translated onto her a little bit. I spoiled her a
for
lot.
sure. So what about, for that girl or the boy who's looking at buying a luxury item, what do you have to say to them?
Well, I think just dream big. and add it to your wish list, visualize it, and it'll be yours. And of course, today in this new world of pre-love luxury, I strongly promote that as well.
Wow.
Woman after my own heart, reduce, upscale, recycle, and pass it on, make fashion a less wasteful industry.
Yes.
Now, the brands won't like us
Right.
saying that at all, but we love all our brands. Anything else you want to say to our viewers before we say bye-bye?
Well, I think it's been a beautiful journey. I moved from fashion design to luxury, and I think I was lucky, but I was open to learning and new learning, so it was great. And I think retail therapy makes you very happy. So please continue and follow it. And whenever you are down, go shop and stay happy and blissful.
Yay! Thank you so much, Deepika. We love you. You had some lovely
Yes,
gifts to give Deepika, right? And yay! Ojas! This is her Ayurveda brand, and trust me, it works. My son has healed his knee injuries, my coughs, colds, remember the congestion I used to
Yes,
have? All of
yes.
it through her brands. She's really researched it, and that's another conversation we'll have.
Yeah.
with
That's
Deepika.
lovely. How do you know I follow Ayurveda?
Oh, you do?
I do.
my girls on
I
this?
practice a lot of Ayurveda, so I'm so excited to
Yes.
use this.
Yes,
It's
you will-
lovely.
please let us know how you like it.
For
and,
sure. Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
And thank you for coming over. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's
And
my
thank you.
pleasure too.
Yours is already given. your gift
I'm the
is
gift
me.
you.
All right.
Thank
that's
you so
good.
much for
Thank
being
Thank
here.
you.
Bye bye.